What's up, you guys? My name is Hutch, and I make videos and put them on the internet. I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. Well, it's not technically different. Lots of people do it. I'm no different. I'm not special. You think you're special? You're not. That got out of hand quickly. I apologize. Anyways, today is a Ask Hutch video. Reached out to you guys on the Twitters and said, hey, got a question for me? Send it on Twitter with the hashtag Ask Hutch, as so many have done before me, and so many will do after me. Let's get right into it. Some joker wants to know, seeing as you didn't make a video on what you thought of Age of Ultron, thoughts? Been loving the streams, pal. First of all, thank you. I'm glad you're loving the streams. Cat, not now. If you want to hang out, all you got to do is just come up here and hang out. You don't need to stay on the ground and be scratching things. Say hi to that camera. Say hi to that camera. This is Mojo. So I liked Age of Ultron. I liked the first Avengers more. I thought that Age of Ultron was a little too Avengers 1. Like, instead of aliens, it was just robots. Like, there was some cool stuff with Hawkeye, and I liked the Bruce Banner and what's her name? Scarlett Johansson's character, the Russian Natasha. I liked the Bruce Banner Natasha romance, but I thought that the movie was I thought it was good. It's totally worth seeing in theaters. I didn't think it was as good as the first one. Bash wants to know, does Hutch clean you well after taking a shit? What? Walter Russa says, hey Hutch, love your trials videos. Thank you. What are your long-term career plans? YouTube forever. So YouTube forever is pretty much off the table. I don't think you can do that, but here's the thing. I have learned to kind of like reprogram everything that was taught to me when I was young, which is plan for the future, plan for the future, plan for the future. If I would have planned for the future in 2009, then I would have ignored this opportunity. So my short-term goal is to keep the pace on YouTube and Twitch and keep this going. It's going like really well. There's been a nice revival of late, and streaming has been just such a blast. And I'm still relatively new to streaming compared to some of the other people that have been doing this for a while. So to be welcomed and have such a consistent, decent sized following on Twitch is pretty cool. I'd like to think that I put in the work for it though, because I've been doing this internet stuff for so long. But my short-term goals is to keep that going, and then I'm just gonna try and remain open. I have faith that if I put enough work into this, that other opportunities will present themselves down the line, and that's just always been the case. Like things have just kind of worked out, and if I would have gone the practical route in my life back then I never would have stumbled on this in the first place. Carrington says, do some smoke tricks. Crushed it. Intoxicated says, what's the best thing about doing streaming YouTube for a living? I don't know what other people's answers are. I'm sure people have been asked this question on other ask ... Ask nade shots and hexes and midnights and all them. I think the best part about doing YouTube and streaming full time is making your own hours. It's also the worst part, because you have to be disciplined and set, like it's only been until relatively recently that I've set a pretty concrete schedule for myself and stuck to it. But just the freedom to make your own hours and to dictate your own pace is really nice. This is going to segue into a question that comes up later, so I'm going to save the rest of this for the thing that comes up here. Andy Olson said, my friend is going through a confused state much like yours in 2012. Any advice I can give him? Well, first of all, thanks for tweeting. Thanks for your question. Second of all, it's hard for me to understand how you're comparing what your friend is going through with what I went through, because I feel like the circumstances I was going through at the time were pretty abnormal, considering what I was doing for work and all that. But I kind of get to what you're going at. Okay, hold on. Let me try this again. Andy Olson says, my friend is going through a confused state much like yours in 2012. Any advice I can give him? No. Just listen. If they ask for advice, then yeah, lay it on them. And say what you mean, but don't say it mean. Can't remember where I got that, but I love that phrase. Yeah, I wouldn't solicit advice if they're not asking for it. Most of the time when people are feeling real down, they just want someone to just either be there or be there and listen. But for me, it was like 90% of the time I just wanted someone to be there, like with me. I would call my friends and be like, I'm feeling shitty, don't really feel like talking about it. Can I just come over and just be in your house with other people that we know? And I'm pretty lucky in some respects, and then I also work towards these friendships, but I'm pretty lucky that I have friends that I can call and do that, and it's not weird. It's just like, yeah, come on over, boom. And then we just binge on Game of Thrones or something like that, and I end up feeling better like 90% of the time. So no, I wouldn't solicit advice if they haven't asked for any. Daniel says, what is your favorite Tom Cruise movie? If I have to go like with my childhood nostalgia, then it would be Days of Thunder, which is arguably his worst movie when you look on like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. And but if I'm going through like what I actually think is his best movie, that's going to be a three-way tie between Magnolia, Minority Report, and Collateral. Probably Magnolia is my favorite, just because I'm a huge Paul Thomas Anderson fan. I think that's his name. He directed Punch Drunk Love and Boogie Nights and The Master and what was that other one? Inherent Vice. Weird director, love his movies. Brixton says, how has your career as a YouTuber changed you as a person? I thought about this question. I think like the biggest way that it changed me is I kind of have this, I had this, it's not so much anymore, but I had this complex when it first started happening, like the popularity first started really taking off with YouTube, was that I had this complex of maybe someone who was growing up, they were like overweight or maybe had a lot of acne or something like that, and then got really hot in their 20s or college years or something, and all of a sudden they're getting all this attention that they weren't getting before, and they're super uncomfortable with it. That's kind of like it. Like there was almost a little bit of resentment for a long time, like, oh, now you guys think I'm cool, because I was like, picked on and stuff growing up, pretty not so great. So there was a little bit of that. So like it made me almost more distrustful of people because I didn't trust any of what was happening. I mean, I rolled with it, but I didn't really trust it all that much. I'd say that, like the positive effect that it's had on my life is that my comfort level as far as being in my own skin and how I present myself to the world has gone way up. Like I take social cues a lot better. I think I'm far more social now than I was before because of that acceptance. And I'm in a good place with it now because it feels good, but I don't rely on validation from the internet to get my self-esteem. Like I get my self-esteem from me and the things that I do and not from a YouTube comment. So it's been kind of like a weird long ride of influence in my life, but I'm really happy with where I'm at now with it. Brandon Hardesty said, how do you feel about fans noticing you when you're out shopping or whatever? I totally dig it. Almost every time. There was only one time when I didn't dig it, and I was in Santa Cruz having just a real bad day, and someone came up and asked to take a picture, and I said, no, sorry, and I just kept walking. And it was more because I was embarrassed, not because I was annoyed with them, and I regret that to this day, and I apologize to you, sir, if you're watching this video. And it's especially awesome when you're out with your lady, especially when you're first like dating someone and you get recognized like in one of the first few dates. That's like, nothing is better than that. You're like, I can sign your autograph. Fry said, what song would you like played at your funeral besides the Space Jam soundtrack? First of all, I would not play the Space Jam soundtrack. No offense to those of you that would. Second of all, the song that I would pick is Radiohead Motion Picture Soundtrack. And I'm not going to explain why. I'm going to let Tom York explain why. You ready? I will see. Boom. Ash Vendor said, if you could go back and fix, redo something from your YouTube career, what would it be? What would you have done differently? I took like a couple really long breaks. One of them was announced, one of them was unannounced. And like looking back, I don't think that you were going to convince me to not do that, but I mean, I regret doing them. Like it's one of those things where if given the second chance, I might have done the same thing just because it was so overwhelming at the time, but not because I wanted to. It was like at the times when I took these breaks, it felt like I was, really, really, literally incapable of doing this sort of thing. Which isn't to say that I don't wish that it didn't happen. Which isn't to say that I wished it happened. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. I wish I hadn't taken a couple breaks. Metal Mario, what do you think is the most overpowered class in Destiny? Is there even one in your opinion? Yeah. If you're talking about PvE, then I would say Titans are the most useful class. Not overpowered. Useful. If you're talking about PvP, then fucking Warlocks. And don't give me the shit about Hunters having overpowered specials. Like, what the freaking do? Our specials are pretty good. The Golden Gun, Arc Blade are pretty good. You guys have overpowered grenades, those little Axion bolts. You can throw them and they literally just follow you. You have nades that follow people. And with some of your gear, with some of your gear, you get two of them. You have a melee, which gives you an overshield and heals you. You have just an incredible melee period. Like all this hunter hatred needs to stop, because Warlocks and like a Sunsinger in a free-for-all game, GG. So I don't want to hear your shit anymore, internet. I think that's gonna do it. I appreciate all you guys taking the time to ask me your questions. I don't think I'll do this on a regular schedule, but I do like doing these from time to time. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you all later.